All right. I think we are live. I hopefully we're coming through okay. It looks a little dark. You guys let me know if if the sound's off or if it's dark, too dark. I need to turn the light up a little bit. You let me know either way. But let's get into it. Before I get started here, I want to give the normal disclaimers I normally give. This is a weekly live broadcast, Thursday evening, 7 o'clock Central. Most of the time. Sometimes I can't make it. Sometimes things get in the way and I just can't make it. But usually I'm here 7 o'clock Central on a Thursday evening. And I do my best to respond to all the chat that comes in during the live chat itself. I have not been good at answering comments lately for quite a while. But like I said, I'm here Thursday evening, 7 o'clock Central. You can come in here and leave a comment or leave a chat in the live chat itself. I usually get to most, if not all of those. The only things, anything you want to, we'll talk about anything you want to talk about. But the only things I ask is you keep it polite, keep it family friendly. Don't be cussing anybody. Don't be hateful with anybody. We don't need to. We can disagree on things, but we don't need to be hateful or any of those kinds of things. So, well, we can get into it, but we don't have much coming in right now as far as chats go. We got Washington Central here with I don't know, is that a sunrise? Sun coming up over, I don't know what that is, but either way, good to see you here. Blessed with Pets is in the car and has to go to the bathroom. No, I can't help with that, unfortunately. Jesse Mills, good to see you. Marty says, good evening, everyone. Hey, Chris, I finally got those kids processed. Got the kids processed. I'm not sure. I don't remember, Marty, what we were talking about before, but good. Congratulations on getting it done either way. So who we got? Joy from Western Oregon. Good to see you. And Chris A. from Portsmouth, Virginia. Good to see you as well. Thanks for joining. I should always have something planned out when the chat is slow because whenever I run into these issues like this, there's no chat coming in right at the moment, and I don't have anything to talk about. All right, here we go. We got a question coming up from RS. Says that when you had chickens, how did you know how much to feed them? Well, that's a good question. It's how much they're going to eat. When you're talking about, now I was raising Cornish cross, so you just keep them, for the first, I got to look back at my notes on this, but for the first 2 weeks, I want to say, it's 24 hours. You give them food 24 hours a day. They just, as much as they'll eat, give them food 24 hours a day. And then they move them out of the brooder box out to the chicken tractor. And then it's 12 hours of on, 12 hours off. So as much food as they'll eat during the day. And then at night, you take the food away. Don't let them eat 24 hours a day because they'll eat themselves to death, basically. But it's just however much they're going to eat. So there wasn't like a certain amount I give them. It goes up as they get bigger, of course, how much they eat. But I had a big 5-gallon bucket that I just fill up with food and keep it full, pull it out of the tractor at night, put it back in the morning. Put it in the morning, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, take it out 7 o'clock at night, 12 hours of feed, and then 12 hours off of feed. Emergency prep guy, good to see you. Who's that? Andrea says, hello, just moved to North Carolina, so hot and humid. Yeah, that is summertime in the South for sure. We're just almost southern here in Southwest Missouri, not quite, but almost. We share a lot of things, I think, in common with Southerners. We eat a lot of the same foods. I think we're more Southern than we are Midwest myself. I really kind of associate more with the Southerners than I do the Midwest. But we have hot, humid summers too. This summer has actually been incredibly hot, but not incredibly humid. It's unusual. It's been a very, very dry summer. And the humidity has been pretty low. It's picked up the last couple of days, and luckily the temperature hasn't been as bad, but you can tell definitely the humidity is coming back. Hey, Tony from Toronto, good to see you. Katrina from Gilroy, California. Marty says kits, got the kits processed. Okay, that makes more sense. I figured that's what you were talking about to begin with, but I don't remember, were we talking last broadcast about processing some kits? I don't remember, honestly. I'd got a lot of going on from now. Don't be offended by that. But congratulations on getting it done either way. Karen from Mississippi, good to see you. Square Body LT from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Hey, Whiskey Tango Farms is here. Good to see you. Marty said they were fairly large. I didn't have a chance to process them until they were 16 weeks old. Yeah, that's pretty good size, I bet. I don't have long, but is it better? Okay, this is Blessed with Pets. Don't have long, but is it better to start with 1, 2, or 3 does? It really just, it's not better to start with one over the other. It's whatever you want and whatever is going to work best for you. If you haven't done it before, which I know you probably have had rabbits before, but I think you have. I know you have because we've talked about it. But I'd start fairly small because you can always add more and bump it back up. But you don't want to get overwhelmed either. So maybe one or two at the most would probably be a good place to start with, and then add on as you go from there. All right, Andrea says, any favorite ways to cage them in high humidity? I've got cages I love, but they're meant to be indoor or undercover, and I don't have that here. Debating my options. What are we talking about? Them. Cage them. Where's Andrea's previous comment? I don't know what we're talking about, Andrea. Are we talking about rabbits or about quail? I guess either one of them, honestly. Hang on. All right, you got cages that you love, but they're meant to be indoors and undercover, and I don't have that here. Debating my options. Okay, so I'm assuming we're talking about rabbits, but I don't really know. We could be talking about rabbits or quail. Either one of them is going to need some cover of some kind. So you're going to have to, if you're going to put rabbits outside, especially in the summertime, hot, heat, humid, rabbits really struggle with heat. Humidity is secondary, but the heat is really, really hard on rabbits. Quail, not so much. They can handle it. But you want to put them in the shade. Make sure that wherever you put them, it's under the cover of a shade. There's never direct sunlight hitting that hutch or hitting their cages, because that can be really bad for them, honestly. Make sure they have fresh water access all the time. You do need to cover the cage with something to protect them from the weather. You don't want them just out there wide open with all the rain and breeze and all that kind of stuff going on. But that could be something as simple as, you could build just a simple like a board or something that goes over the top, outstretches over the sides, some tarps that you could string down the sides to provide them with some wind blocks, so that they're not, in the heat of summer, you don't want the cages wrapped up real tight. You want ventilation, you want airflow in there, but you don't necessarily want every breeze that comes along, no way for them to get away from it. That can really dry them out a lot. So yeah, that's a little tricky to answer if you don't have anywhere under cover to put them, because you really need that one way or the other. I'm not sure how to give you much advice without building something to put them under, but it doesn't have to be super elaborate. You could build just a simple stand up kind of shed type thing and wall it in with tarps. That's really all you need. It would do just fine. Katrina says, thawing rabbit fat from 5 litters. I'm going to render it today or tomorrow, depending on how fast it thaws, and find out what it's like. Hopefully it would be a good experience. Yeah, I've never actually rendered rabbit fat. It's just, I don't know, it seems weird to me. It doesn't seem like it would be very appetizing, not like, chicken fat or pork fat or something like that. But who knows? I may be wrong. Let us know how it goes. Chris A says, as of 7:30 p.m., it's day 17. I have 70 eggs in the incubator. Wish me luck. Yeah, good luck. You should have them hatching any minute now. So good luck with that. Hopefully it goes well. James, evening from Western New York, finally settled in and have hatched 63 quail from 80 eggs. No casualties so far. Knock on wood. That sounds pretty good. Well done. Congratulations. All right. K.A. says, hi, I have a big outdoor pen for my girl quail. Is it possible to add younger quail to the pen? And at what age should I do it? Yeah, it's absolutely possible. That's how I usually do it. I usually add my young quail to the existing flocks. I've had really good luck with that. Hardly any issues with them fighting or anything like that, even as the birds grow older and get sexually mature. I add them in as early as, as soon as I move them out of the brooder box. So in the summertime right now, that's going to be about 2.5 weeks old, somewhere right around in there. Once they're fully feathered out, weaned off the heat lamp, out to the outdoor hutch they go, and they go right in with the adult birds just fine. Now, I don't always do that. Sometimes I put them in their own cage, but yeah, you should be able to put them in right in with the adult birds, no problems whatsoever. Do it before they get too old. You don't want to wait till they're like 5-6 weeks old. You want to do it when they're fairly young, so that they're not seen as a threat, that they just accept them right into the flock. All right. Andrea says quail. Okay, you were talking about quail. Okay. Well, you get a little bit easier there with quail. They're not as sensitive to the heat as rabbits are, but you still want to put them under shade. You don't want them in an area where they're going to get just direct sunlight beating down on them. And you do need to give them some kind of wind block and cover so they can get out of the weather and they're not just out in it all the time. You might be able to devise something. I don't know how big your cages are, but you might be able to devise something you put in the cage, like a box of some kind that maybe you cut a hole in where they can get in it and then get in there to get out of the weather, and you wouldn't have to put a roof over the whole thing. That may be an option as well. Miss Kitty says, hello from Utah. Good to see you. Ryan, is there a certain weight that you make sure your doe rabbits reach before breeding them the first time? I have a New Zealand doe that is about 6 months old, but she is only about 5 pounds. Yeah, 6 months old and only 5 pounds, that would concern me. I don't know that. I think I would look for a replacement for that rabbit because genetically she's just not growing fast enough. And I don't know that I would want to. I don't know that that would do well. I mean, 5 pounds at 6 months old does not sound like a purebred New Zealand to me. Sounds like something else is going on there. But to answer your question, yeah, I want a doe to be up closer to 8, 9 pounds or even 10 pounds, really. And they should be there by like 6, 7 months, somewhere right around in there. So I don't necessarily weigh them. I just kind of look at them by size, but that's a pretty good size. You know, a 9, 10 pound rabbit's a pretty good size rabbit. So you can kind of picture what that's going to be. You're right as far as 6 months old. You don't want to breed them before 6 months old, but only 5 pounds at 6 months old would concern me. All right. Sage Wolf from Northeast Ohio. Good to see you. Excuse me. Let me get a drink here real quick. Blessed with Pets says, what's your opinion on colony raising? I'd keep the buck in the cage, and also, do you feed hay when you have rabbits? I'm trying to decide how many does to get. The ones I'm looking at are already live together, and they're 4 months old. Okay. My opinion on colony raising, and I haven't done it myself, so I'm just speaking from an opinion. You can look up other people that have raised them in colonies and see. I have watched videos of people that have raised them in colonies, and I've heard from some people that said that they raised them in colonies and they have great luck with them. And then I've heard lots of other people that said they'll never raise them in colonies again. It's just a huge pain. You have to worry about, you have to have a pretty good large space for them to be able to roam in. The thing I would worry about keeping the buck in a cage is that when you release him out there, does can get very territorial. And if they see him coming into their territory, especially if they're not ready to breed at that time, they can put up quite a fight. So I would worry about that. I don't know how big of an issue that's going to be. It kind of depends on how big of an area you have for them. You're also going to be, I'm assuming you're going to have them in a yard, something like that. You're going to want to make sure that you have your fence down because like below ground, because they will dig their way out of it. Other things will dig their way into it. I don't like the idea of raising in colonies. It's just harder to maintain. Usually what happens is you just let the buck in. They all just are in a colony. They all just live in there all the time. But because, like I said, you may have a hard time introducing the buck when it's time to breed. But you don't have the way to control or know when your rabbits are pregnant, when they're getting ready to have babies, any of that kind of stuff. So those would be my concerns with colony raising. Where we at? Miss Kitty says, what can I do about grasshoppers? Boy, let's see. I don't have a huge grasshopper problem, so I don't know right offhand what you can do about grasshoppers. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I don't have a good solution for grasshoppers right off the top of my head. You should be able to go out. I don't know how big of a problem you have with grasshoppers. We have a few of them around, but it's not like an infestation, so it's not a big problem. I just don't mess with them. But I know when I was a kid, we used to go out and collect them for fishing to take, use for fish bait. And we always went out at night with a flashlight, and you could just pick them right off pieces of grass and, whatever. So, that's a way to do it. You could do that with a, bucket of soapy water and throw them in there. Something like that would work. If there's a lot of them, that may be too much work to do. And I don't have a good solution for that. I don't like to use broad spectrum pesticides. That would probably take care of them, but I don't like to use that because that'll kill your pollinators. That kills all your good bugs too. I would stay away from doing that, but I don't have a good solution. Let's see if somebody else in here has a good solution for taking care of grasshoppers. They'll hopefully help us out with that. All right. Where we at here? Blessed with Pets says, I currently have 1-year-old tricolor mini Rex buck and looking into getting does. My 2 mama rabbits suddenly passed away a few weeks ago. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. I remember talking about that. So good luck. I hope you do find the does that you're looking for. I hope it all works out. Seth says, hello from Chateau, I think it is, Montana, just separated the baby rabbits from the mom and into the grow out tractor, all doing great with and looking forward to trying new rabbit recipes. Well, awesome. Congratulations on that. I've often thought about building like a rabbit tractor for my grow outs, but haven't done it. Maybe I will this year. Who knows? KA says, thank you. My 10-year-old daughter is loving having her friends over for egg hunt in the quail pen. Definitely different from the chickens. Yeah, I can imagine that egg hunts in the quail pen would be maybe a little tricky to do. I don't know. They can hide those eggs pretty well, I'm sure. Katrina says, harvested a bunch of quail last night, replaced my jumbo breeders with some of this batch. Sorry, comments jumped on me. One got loose and went for an adventure. Man, camouflage in the blackberries. We caught him after a while. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what they do. They hide in the brambles and the edge. I mean, in the wild, they're an edge species. They live right on the edges of the woods and stuff like that, and the brambles and the briars and brush and all that kind of stuff, and they can hide incredibly well. You're right. Katrina says that let's see, regarding colony rabbit breeding, he could bring the female to the male's hutch like you would in a non-colony situation. Well, you're right. You could go when it's time to breed, go catch the females, put them in the male's hutch. That would work. You could probably do that. That's a good thought. Let's see. Blessed with Pets says, I was thinking I'd bring the does to the buck's cage to breed. I have a 12 by 10 metal cover I was going to enclose. Well, you had the same idea and got to go out. And says, got to go. Thanks, Chris. God bless. God bless you too. And hopefully you figure it out. Hey, Salvador, good to see you. Oh, Max behind me. He said, hi. Yeah, Katrina says, hey, Max, he's being your buddy today. Yeah, he's always my buddy. He sits in here a lot of the time. You guys can see him. I'll reach down and pet him here. He lays in here a lot of the time while I'm on, if I'm on the computer. My work computer's right over here. Sometimes I do some work from home. I work a little bit from home, and then I go into the office for the most of the day. But he'll lay in here while I'm working on a computer, or if I'm sitting at the computer, whatever. He just lays in here and hangs out with me. So I don't know who's going to QuailCon this year, but I am thinking about bringing Max along with me. I don't know if I'll be able to or not. It just kind of depends on a couple of things, but he may come along with us, so he may get to meet you guys in person as well. And we ran out of comments again. Katrina will be there. Good. Make sure you come up and tell me who you are, because I probably won't know right off bat. I mean, I don't have any way of knowing who you are. I don't see your pictures or anything. Beyond the Past says, hey, Chris, one of my cubbies' egg size have dramatically reduced in size. They're about 2 years old, and it's been over 95 for weeks now. Are those two things possibly the reason? That could be part of it. I have not noticed a drop in my egg size at all with the heat, and it's been 105 for like a month and a half. I mean, it's been crazy. So yeah. So I don't think that the heat's going to have anything to do with it. I haven't really noticed egg size dropping either with my older birds. I mean, every once in a while I give a smaller egg, but not consistently small eggs. And I've got birds in there that are like 2 years old. So I don't know. I mean, it may be interesting to see, like, what are you feeding them maybe? That may have something to do with it. What's your protein level in your feed? I don't know that have anything to do with it, but that's the only thing I could think would be different, because I do feed a high protein feed. I feed a 30% game bird starter to all my birds. I don't know if maybe switching feeds or something, if you do that, will affect the egg size. Maybe. I don't think it would. I really don't know. I mean, I don't really have a good answer for that one. Or it could be, it could be heat related. Maybe they're stressed out because of the heat. You said it's been in the 90s for weeks. Like I said, it's been 105 here for a month and a half, but it could be that my birds already went through that and I just didn't notice it at the time or something. I don't know. How long has it been an issue that their egg size has been smaller? That's another question too. Because if it's been like, if you're going off of like what happened the past couple of days or something, just give it a week. They're going to pick right back up. It's nothing to worry about. It's just weird eggs. And you just happen to get them all at the same time, probably. Jesse says, I'll be at QuailCon. Well, make sure you say hi to me. Let me know who you are. I got to get a hotel booked pretty quickly because it's coming up like 3 weeks away. And I'm just waiting to find out. I'm not sure if my wife's going to be able to go with me or not because, well, her mom is going through cancer treatment right now. And we don't know if she's, we're kind of waiting until the last minute to find out if she's going to be able to go or not. So I may be going by myself and maybe bringing my wife and my dog. I don't know yet. We're going to find out. Beyond the Past says, yeah, it's super weird. They have been on the same feed their whole life. I've never seen this happen before. It's only been 2 weeks of smaller eggs. Still 2 weeks is a pretty consistent trend of smaller eggs. I don't really know the answer. What could cause that? Let me do a quick search here. Let me see what we can find out. Google it and find out. Egg size suddenly dropped. Looks like it's inadequate level of energy, protein, or calcium can cause a drop in egg production. Not egg production, though. We're talking about egg size. Why are my eggs getting smaller? Stress, predators, weather extremes, not enough water, or feed, or disease, or illness can all cause a hen to temporarily lay smaller than expected eggs. That's probably talking about chickens primarily, but I guess it would hold true for quail as well. I have never noticed. Oh, sorry, I got distracted by another comment, which I'll get to in more. I've never noticed my egg size dropping with weather conditions. That site says stress, weather, extreme weather conditions or something like that can cause egg size to drop. So yeah, it could be. I don't know. I mean, are your birds not adequately shaded? Maybe that could be the difference. Mine are under tree cover. They never get direct sunlight hitting the hutch, so that may have something to do with it. That's my best guess. I mean, you may be right. You may be onto it that it's the temperature that's causing it. Sage Wolf says, I am going to QuailCon and I will let someone else win their six-tier cage this year. Okay. I do remember that last year. You won it. I don't remember exactly what you look like now, so you're going to have to introduce yourself to me again. But I do remember the giveaway last year, so congratulations on winning. That was a pretty nice cage. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It should be a good time. At this point, I'm planning on just driving there. It's about a 10-hour drive, 10.5-hour drive. So if anybody's coming from Southwest Missouri area and you guys want to, not carpool, but, convoy, I guess you would say, travel as a group, let me know, because then, it's always better to have, just in case, you blow a tire, engine trouble, whatever, you got somebody nearby that can help you out. So that's always a good thing. But that's my plan anyway right now, is drive down Friday, come back Monday. That's the plan. All right, what else we got in nothing in comments right now. Well, let's see if I find anything else about egg size not drop in production. How can I increase my egg layer size? They do mention on there not enough water or feed. That could be an issue too. Are they running out of water? That may be something too. Verna says, hey, Chris, was lost in your other live stream. What happened? What do you mean what happened? Did I have another live stream going? I don't think I did. I just had the one. I tried to start it a couple of times. I was having issues getting it to start, but I don't think any of them actually started, right? I don't see them on my channel. Let's see. I'm looking. I don't know, Verna. I'm sorry. I'm not sure what happened. Sujak says, what chicken starter? Oh, wait, would chicken starter be good enough for quail, or do I need to add grit? No, chicken starter is okay. You can use chicken starter if you want to. I like a game bird starter if you can find it, or a turkey starter if you can find it. I think they have a little higher protein in them, and try to. It's going to be fine though. It's going to work. If that's all you can get, they're going to be okay. Don't worry about it. And you don't need to add grit. As long as you're using like a crumble feed, you don't need to add grit. If you start adding in other things like insects and fresh vegetables and all that kind of stuff, they may need some grit. But if you've got a sandbox, that's going to work. They're going to eat some of the sand and use that for grit. Okay, and Verna says, no, the others were no one there. So there was another live stream you found that I'm not showing that. I don't see what. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on. I'm not seeing the other live stream. Hopefully I didn't lose a bunch of people over there. Beyond the Past says, Beyond the Past. I'm sorry. I'm laughing at your comment, not I shouldn't be laughing. I don't mean that in a mean way, but it says, my family lives in Joplin. Have you ever dealt with tornadoes and your animals? Yeah, Joplin, Missouri. Yeah, we've dealt with tornadoes. You may not know. I mean, I don't know how long your family has lived here, but the biggest, deadliest tornado in U.S. history came through here. I guess it's been about 10 years ago now. I haven't had like direct hits on my house. I did lose a couple of shingles in that. Had a tree across the street when it was taken down, but it wasn't too bad at my house actually. So, I mean, if I don't know how to answer that question. Yeah, I've dealt with tornadoes plenty of times. They're all around all the time, but if they hit your house directly, I mean, there's not really much you can do about your animals. They're either going to make it or they're not. And if they don't hit your house directly, well, then there's nothing you need to do with your animals because it didn't hit your house directly. It's going to be okay. There's not a whole lot you can do unless you want to try to get all your animals into some kind of storm shelter, which, usually is not an option. I mean, by the time a tornado is coming, you don't have much time. It's not like, it's not like a hurricane where it's coming, hours ahead of time. This is usually more of a, you hear it. I mean, like the big tornado that hit here, I mean, it was storming out. We knew it was storming and it was getting pretty nasty out. But when it hit, I mean, the sirens went off and I heard the tornado shortly. I mean, like within a minute or 2 minutes after the sirens went off. It wasn't like I had, 30 minutes or an hour to get ready. So anyway, Sage Wolf says, I have some quail forming dirt balls on the tips of their toes. Any tips for preventing it from forming? So I'm guessing you have them on a solid floor would be my guess. It's probably, I don't know if it's dirt or, their droppings that are clinging to their toes. That's a pretty common issue when you've got them on like solid floors or something like that. That can happen. But the biggest thing that you can do is, clean it off the best you can. Don't just rip it off there because it could have dried on and you don't want to pull their skin off or anything. That'd be horrible. But you can soak it in like Epsom salt or something like that, soften it up, and then it should be able to clean off. And then you're going to have to, if you've got them on a solid floor, you're just going to have to clean it regularly, like every couple of days. Clean it out. Alternately, you can move them to, like sand or something like that. I noticed it doesn't happen too bad with the sand at all. And of course, I use wire flooring as well, so their droppings fall through. They don't build up for them to collect to their toes. That would be my best suggestion for that. Katrina is saying to Sujak, is that right? Sujak? Yeah. Says you only need grit if you're feeding them real food. The bagged food is water soluble. Yeah, you're right. Berna says it was the one I saw on my channel. When I looked at my notifications, I went to the one live. That was how I got here. Another YouTube mess up, who knows? I was having some issues getting the live broadcast started. I had to try it like 4 times before it actually let me like create the page. I'd go to the page and I'd set it to view my camera and it'd say something went wrong. Try again. I'd hit try again and start all over and have me create the live broadcast all over again. And I used the same name every time, so, and it didn't like error out because there was already a live broadcast with that name or something like that either. So I don't know. Who knows? All right, we got some people talking to each other, but I will let you do that. Uncle Dude says, where's QuailCon being held? In Miamisburg, Ohio. Saturday the 3rd, Sunday the 4th. Those 2 days. You can go to MyShire Farms website or just look up QuailCon. I bet QuailCon. Let's look. QuailCon. Yep, there it is. You just do a Google search for QuailCon, and there it is. You can buy the tickets. There's a 2-day event. There'll be a dinner on Saturday, and then the whole event on Sunday. Let's see. Sujak says, last quail question on my end. Do temperatures impact egg laying? You can ask as many quail questions as you want. It's fine. I'm not keeping track. So you don't feel like you have to ask the last one or anything like that. In fact, if nobody's asking questions, I don't have a live broadcast because that's all this is me answering and responding. So let's see. The last question was, do temperatures impact egg laying? They can. In my experience, it's like when you first switch seasons, like we go from summer into fall and then into winter and it gets really cold, then yeah, I'll notice a drop in egg production for about a week or so, and then it picks right back up, assuming I've got enough light. Light's really the main thing that you've got to keep on them if you want them laying throughout the whole year. They got to have 16 hours a day of light. And, around here, usually around mid-November. The days are getting pretty short at that point, and they'll start shutting down. Probably actually before that, probably late October. Unless you put a light on their hutch. It doesn't have to be a super bright light. It just has to be a light that will, if it's bright enough to read by, it's fine. And you can extend the daylight to 16 hours a day. They'll keep laying. But again, like you said, the weather, usually those drastic changes, like when it goes from fall into winter, then, there's usually a pretty abrupt, just drop in temperature when we get to winter time. And that will shut them down for about a week, maybe something like that. And then they'll pick right back up. They get used to it. Same thing going into summer. A lot of times early spring. And then when we first hit that just jump in heat, then that could drop. That could cause them to shut down for, a couple of days or a week. But not like it doesn't necessarily keep them from laying constantly. It's just it's a stressor. And any kind of stress thing with quail is going to make them stop laying for about a week. You move them around, move them from one cage to another. They're going to stop laying for a week. Lots of predator pressure or something like that. They're going to stop laying for a week. Anything that stresses them out is going to cause them to stop laying for a little while. All right, Square Body LT says, I've been watching you and your videos for about 4 years. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Says, I recently found someone who already has chickens, and when I mentioned quail, he is ready to start ASAP. Yeah, quail are a great addition, I think. And I don't keep chickens for egg laying. I do raise some in the springs usually for meat production, but not for egg laying. I might get some chickens at some point. I don't know. Who knows? All right. KA says, hey, just checking in there. Are 4 different YouTube links which say the same title, but only one says that one person is waiting. So hopefully everyone is here now. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I don't even see them on my, I go to my YouTube homepage and it's not even showing them. I don't know why. Must be in your notifications. I'm so sorry about that, guys. I didn't think it was actually putting them up there. There's nowhere I can go to like delete them or anything. It's just, I can't do anything about it. Beyond the Past says, yay, Mom's sister and some others lived through the Joplin tornado. Crushed a few of the family's houses with them inside. All were mostly safe compared to what could have been. Yeah, it's, for those, and I don't know, I will say this. This is one of the reasons that I do believe in God is because of things like that happen. And if you would have seen what it looked like right after the tornado went through, it looked like somebody took a broom and just swept it through the town. It was miles of nothing but just flattened houses. You would have sworn nobody could have lived through any of that. And time after time after time, you hear these stories about whole house was inside the house. The tornado hit it, destroyed every room in the house except for the one room that they were in, the bathroom, the closet, whatever. And that's, to me, that is God's divine intervention, just protecting us. And we lost a lot of people, 150, 140, well, maybe it was 160, a lot. But it could have been so much worse. It was amazing that anybody lived through that. Berna says, they just threw you up into other rooms each time you tried. Well, yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on, but oh no. QuailCon tickets are sold out. Are they really? Let me check something. No, it shows in stock. It shows 20 of them in stock right now. 29 of them. They're not sold out. Salvador says, I use chicken starter, 19% protein in Puerto Rico, 25 for a 50-pound bag. Yeah, I'm sorry you can't get anything better. That's not terrible. They'll do okay on that, but I do like a higher protein than that. Look for a turkey starter if you can find it. You're probably about the same price, probably a higher protein. But that price, $25 for a 50-pound bag, that's unfortunate. I get mine for, it's gone up a little bit, so it's like $18 for a 50-pound bag. But anyway, you got to do what you got to do. Gary says, hello, Chris, and to all the Quail family and friends from North Carolina. Good to see you, Gary. Sage Wolf says, for lights, I use Christmas lights. Yeah, it doesn't have to be super bright. Christmas lights work fine. James figured it out. He says, yeah, you can delete the comment about them being sold out. Verna says there's 27 tickets, but I'm looking at the website that says 29. So I don't know. Maybe it's only 27. It's all right. Everybody makes mistakes. All good. Gary says, what would cause a 3-week-old quail vomiting water? Looked bad, put it down. I've had them do that from time to time. It's what's that called? There's a couple of things could happen with that. I've noticed a lot of the time that they'll drink a bunch of water, and then if you handle them or something, they get stressed out. They start spitting that water up. It's nothing to worry about. It's just a normal thing. They can also though get water. What's it called? I'm trying to figure it out. Oh, I can't find it, but there is something that they can't. I mean, it could just be. I mean, it could be an illness of some kind. It could be something that's happened. Who knows? I can't answer and tell you exactly why it happened. If the bird was stressed out and was just spitting up some water and some liquid and stuff like that, that's pretty normal behavior. That's nothing to worry about. But it seems to me like what you're saying is it was worse than that. So, I mean, it could be any number of things that caused it. It's probably nothing like you're not going to have to worry about it with the rest of your birds. Probably, I wouldn't worry about it too much. I just can't give you the actual reason why it happened. Beyond the Path says God is good all the time. Absolutely, God is good all the time. Yeah, they add some tickets. Katrina says. James says, sorry, Chris, old info. They added more. No problem. You don't have to be sorry about that. Maybe it is called water belly. Is that it, Katrina? Let's see. Water belly. Maybe that's it. Chickens or quail. Okay, water belly. It says it's a disease. I don't know. Is that a disease? Ascites, I think it is, or water belly is a condition that is hard to treat and unfortunately has high mortality rates. And then there's a lot. What is it? I'm looking. It's found in rapid growing breeds of chicken. The main cause is pulmonary hypertension. This means that the bird's body, mainly heart and lungs, are under tremendous amounts of stress. Okay, blah 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 blah. Signs are the appearance is most common. The abdomen is swollen and enlarged. When poked, it feels squishy as if the belly is full of water. I don't know if that's the same thing or not. I don't know. Hello to you. Is that Halligan? Halligan? I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Halligan House? Maybe I got it right. Maybe I didn't. Hey, Gary, good to see you. Says good evening to Chris and everyone. Haven't been in a while. Well, we're welcome back anytime. Thanks for joining. Sujak says, how old's your rabbit shelter? And can you give measurements on how you had yours built? I've done a video on that where I've talked about, I can't remember exactly how big it was now or how big it is now. It's pretty old. I don't know, 9 years, something like that, 8 years. I don't know, something like that. It's pretty old. But basically all I did was I just drew it out. Like I knew my cages were going to be 30 inches wide. I wanted to add a little bit of a gap between the cages so they weren't right up and next to each other. So I just added a couple of gaps. I wanted 4 cages long. There's also the middle section that has a brace going across it. So I had to accommodate for that. And that's how I kind of came up with the measurement. It's something like 17 feet across, maybe 50. I can't remember exactly. I'm sorry I can't give you the exact measurements, but that's just I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember. You can look up. I do have videos on the rabbit hutch or the rabbit shed itself, where I've shown how it's kind of put together. It's pretty simple. It's not real complex, and you're probably just going to have to kind of figure out the measurements based on your cages. So I know I went like 30 inches, and make sure you account for the post, because you can't put a rabbit cage where the post is. It's going to go on the side. So the post is like, it's a 4-inch post, I think. So there's 4 inches, and then there's another 2-inch gap, and then there's a cage 30 inches, and then another 2-3 inch gap, however wide you want that to be, in another cage, and then there's another post, so 2 inches, and then another 4 inches. Hopefully that makes sense. You just add that up all the way across. That gives you your kind of dimensions there. Jennifer says, after bothering the male, how long should you let them rest before freezing them? After bothering the male. Okay. I think what you're asking is after you process the animal, whether it's a quail, a rabbit, whatever, you want to let it rest before freezing it or, cooking it up or whatever. I mean, you could do it right away. You could cook it right away if you wanted to, if you get it before rigor mortis sets in. Because what happens if you cook it or freeze it when it's in the midst of rigor mortis, it makes it tough, very tough. So what I do is wait until the rigor mortis leaves. For rabbits, that's usually 3 days, something like that, 3-4 days, somewhere around there. Put them in the refrigerator. You could do it in a cooler, an ice bath in the cooler. I prefer to dry age my meat, so I usually do it in the refrigerator. And then, just a couple of days until the rigor mortis kind of leaves the meat, and you'll know because it'll stiffen up. It'll get real stiff. And then after about 3 or 4 days or whatever, it'll loosen up a little bit. And now it's not going to be like super loose, but it'll be a lot looser. It'll be a lot easier to move it. You'll figure that out. Now, quail only takes about 2 days usually, something like that. But you can leave them in there. I usually leave them in there for about a week because I usually process on a weekend. I put them in the fridge, and then it's the next weekend when I get around to bagging them up and all that kind of stuff. Verna says, Chris, I got my freeze dryer yesterday. We'll set it up tomorrow. Oh, congratulations. I'm jealous. I would like to have a freeze dryer as well, but I can't afford one right now. I had to put money into fixing my roof and, I don't know, a couple other things, but, it's like there's always something broken that needs fixed. All right, Gary says, it was in with 67 brothers and sisters off to itself. Watched it for hours. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, I don't know exactly. I think you're talking about the rabbit or the quail that was vomiting water. Who knows? Probably just an anomaly. It's probably nothing you're going to have to worry about. I don't think I'd stress about it too much. Unfortunately, I just can't tell you exactly what caused it. If it becomes like a regular thing, then yeah, you're definitely going to want to find out what it is, and come back. We'll do some more research on it. But you have weird things like that happen. I had a bird the other day that just for some reason just refused to walk anymore. Just laid on the cage floor. Was still fairly perky. Was like obviously was eating or drinking because I gave it a couple of days to see if it was going to get up and do anything. Get up and start moving around again. It just never did, and it wasn't like. I don't even know. Who knows why it did that? Who knows what happened? I ended up having to put it down. But it's just one bird. It hasn't happened to any other birds. And sometimes you just get weird things like that happen. Nothing to stress about usually. Matthew says, Chris, could you keep quail in a polytunnel? I'm sure you could. Yeah, you can keep them in an aviary. I don't know that I'd want to keep them like in the summertime in a polytunnel. I mean, that would get incredibly hot in there. You'd probably cook them. But yeah, you could do like a, let's see, a cattle panel wouldn't work because I was going to say a cattle panel tunnel, of some kind that you covered with plastic in the wintertime to make it like a clear plastic. That'd keep it a little bit warmer in the winter. It may still even get too hot in there. I don't know. But yeah, you could do it. There's several ways that you could do it. Cattle panel wouldn't work because the holes are too big. You could do a cattle panel and then line it with like hardware cloth or something over that to keep the birds in and predators out. That would work. Yeah, you could do it. Katrina says, I put a down payment on a freeze dryer, other priorities right now, but wanted to lock in the sale price. I'm sure it's just going to get more expensive. There's no time limit for the layaway program. Well, there you go. That makes sense. Hopefully it doesn't get more expensive. You may be right, but usually, who knows? I mean, it's hard to say. That's not necessarily new technology. I was going to say usually it's kind of a newer thing, I think, on the market right now. It's not super common. And usually what happens with those kinds of things is that as they become more popular, as time goes on, the price comes down a little bit. But not always. We'll have to see. But hopefully we'll start seeing some of them come available that are used on, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, that kind of stuff. In fact, there may be some. Let's check Facebook Marketplace, see if there's a freeze dryer on there. Maybe a used freeze dryer on Facebook Marketplace. I don't know if there is or not. Let's find out. Let's see. It comes up with a gas dryer, washer machine. No, it's having a hard time. Oh, there's a freeze dryer. I used one for $2,500. Yeah, not on Facebook Marketplace yet. Not a good place to search for them yet. All right. Katrina says they also said if it gets cheaper, I can call them and they will adjust the price for me. Well, that's a pretty good deal, isn't it? So Verna says, Chris, at 10 a.m. Eastern Saturday, I will be teaching how to ship out empty shells to others. Another way they can make money off their quail. So empty shells. You're selling empty egg shells? Is that what you're talking about? Why would anybody want to buy empty egg shells? I don't get it. I don't know. Maybe there's a market for it. I just didn't know about it. I'm kind of curious on that one now. I guess there's people that'll buy just about anything, though, aren't there? I mean, look at somebody sold pet rocks. That's why I'm not a millionaire, because I see some of these ideas. I'm like, yeah, that's dumb. Nobody's going to buy that. And then somebody sells it, and it's crazy. There's a market for empty eggshells. I didn't even know that. What do you know? Huh. So do you have to, are you blowing them out, or are you just cracking them like normal, like cutting the end of them off and dumping the egg out? And then what, you wash them or anything? Gary says, yeah, I think they die at hatching 3 week, 8 week, and 3 months old. What are we talking about? Gary, you lost me there. Somebody asked you a question that I skipped over maybe, and you're responding to them, because I don't know what we're talking about. Gary, I'm lost. I'm sorry. How are we doing on time? We got about 15 minutes left, so we're doing good. I had something I was going to tell everybody in the live broadcast. I forgot what it was. So some of the eggshells you cut out like normal. Others are blown out. Both can be shipped for various crafts. Interesting. I can't imagine trying to blow out quail eggs, though. That seems like a lot of work. Maybe not. Justin says, I'm late. Just got done harvesting honey. 60 pounds of honey. Awesome. I'm jealous. Wish I had 60 pounds of honey. KA says, my kids love the shells. They make mini candles in them and plant. Awesome. Katrina says, rabbits with a question mark. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. I guess maybe you guys are having a conversation I wasn't part of, because there's just weird little comments that come along. I don't know what we're talking about. So you're going to have some of your table at QuailCon. Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, I don't have anything I'm selling at QuailCon. I'm just not doing it. I need to put some stuff together for you guys, don't I? I need to get some, I don't know, some slightly redneck t-shirts, coffee mugs, that kind of stuff together. So I know there's people that have asked for them. We'll see what we can do. On the Path says, when breeding rabbits, I keep them separate like you, but we are brand new to it. Does it make a difference whether you put the buck in the doe cage or the doe into the buck's cage for the mating process? Yes, it does make a difference. Always take the doe to the buck. Never take the buck to the doe. Does get very territorial about their cages, and you throw a buck in there with them, there's a good chance they're going to beat the tar out of him. They may even castrate him. It's happened before. You always want to take the doe to the buck's cage, not the other way around. So hopefully that helps. Justin says, I'm not done. I still have 7 boxes left. Oh, of honey. 7 boxes of honey left. Wow, that's a lot. Katrina says, now what were you going to tell us about rabbits, gardens, fall garden? I don't know. No, there was like a story I was going to tell you. I don't remember what it was now. I shouldn't have even said anything, huh? I was hoping that by saying something that would remind me, but no, it hasn't. It hasn't popped back into my head yet. So, I do want to say something, though, actually, that's kind of been bothering me. My YouTube feed has been popping up with all these videos, these different homesteading channels and things like that, which, I've seen them before. They seem like good people, and they probably are good people. I'm not talking bad about them. I don't mean it this way, but it just seems like the common trend right now is to be like warning this, warning that, this is coming. I told you, prepare before it's too late. Just like panic, mass panic everywhere. And I don't know if they're doing that just to get views or if they truly believe that, where they're in mass chaos, like, like they truly believe that. If that's the case, turn off the news, quit watching it, because it will make you feel like everything's a mess, and everything is a mess in a lot of ways. But I'm just kind of, I don't know. It just seems like it's exaggerated right now. And that if you watch all that stuff all the time, you get brainwashed to where, and maybe I'm a little brainwashed where I think it's not, but I don't, just turn off the news, quit watching. If something bad happens, somebody will tell you about it. You don't need to watch it. The news makes everything sound like it's horrible all the time, and you just live in anxiety. You gotta block that stuff out. Yeah, things are not great. Inflation has taken over. If you live in the United States anyway, inflation has taken off. Prices of everything has gone up, but it's not the end of the world. We're going to get through it. It's going to be okay. Verna says, I'm also selling second book of Quail in the Kitchen cookbook. Book 1 is on my Shar website. Well, awesome. Hopefully you sell a lot of them. Verna, I hope you do. All right. Blessed with Pets made it back. Good to see you. Gary says, no, just talking about when quail dies. Oh, when they just randomly die for whatever reason. Yeah, that happens. That doesn't happen to me often, though. Not with young birds. Usually once they're about 3 or 4 days old, I very seldom lose any of them. Every great once in a while I'll lose an older bird, but it's not very often. And this bird that quit walking around, that's an old bird. That's like a 2-year-old bird. So I wasn't terribly surprised to see one die. But the weird thing is it didn't, like, I found them like laying on the cage floor, like looking like they're dying. But this one wasn't. It just looked like it was just like laying down. It was just laying there. His head perked up, it bright eyes, looked fine, except for it was just laying down. And I pick it up, and even when I reach for it, it kind of shuffle its wings like, oh, you're gonna mess with me, aren't you? But I'd pick it up and just would not use its legs, just lay there for like 3 days. And finally, I was like, okay, I got to put it down. It's not gonna survive. It can't eat and drink. So anyway. Justin says, I haven't pulled all off, just the ones that are done. And the honey, I think we're talking about. Nice. Sujek says, I have 8 boxes. 8 boxes of what? Honey? Nice. Hey, there's Jupiter. Says, Jupiter the Argentine Tegu. Says, I hope you're doing well. I am doing well. Thank you. Hopefully you are too. Verna says, Chris, I don't allow news. That is the reason I don't have a TV. I just do what my instincts tell me. Yep. It's not a bad plan either. The only news I watch really is local news, mostly the weather. Let it play a little bit in the mornings, and I'll catch a few stories here and there, and I'll hear a few things here and there. But for the most part, I just tune it out because it's just the alternative. I mean, if you watch the news and it's so biased, all of it is. It doesn't matter which one you watch. Aside from the political crap, everything they just sensationalize everything. Like you hear the weather on, and it's not bad on my local station, but it's bad. Like you get the national news and they talk about the weather, like massive heat wave across the United States, going to, dangerous heat. And I mean, they just make it sound like it's not summer. It's summertime. That happens in the summertime. It's not that big a deal. And they make it out like it's just like a once in a million, like once every 1,000-year kind of drought heat wave thing that goes through. It's not that uncommon. It happens all the time. Anyway, that's my rant. Blessed with Pets says, my idea is to have does in the colony, bucks in the cages. That way I can have more than one breed, starting with mini Rex, but I'm thinking about adding Holland Lops and Lion Heads. Well, good. I hope it works out. Uh-oh, Marty's got to go. Good to see you, Marty. Thanks for joining tonight. You have a good night, too. How are we doing on time? We got about 8 minutes left. All right. Sujak says, Chris, are you thinking about raised garden beds? No, I'm probably not. I mean, I've got a couple of little raised garden beds that I grow like garlic in, carrots when I do that, or greens, because they do better in that loose raised bed soil. It's a lot easier to keep it in there than it is to try to do it in my in-ground garden, especially since I've got like weed fabric across all that. It'd be hard to do some of that stuff in there. But no, I'm by and large, I'm not going to be doing raised beds. I don't really like raised beds that much because it's harder to water them, harder to keep them watered. They dry out incredibly fast. There's just lots of things. Plus, it's just harder for me to amend soil in a raised bed garden. It's a lot easier just to throw it on the ground and be done with it. Anyway, that's just me. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with raised beds if that's what you want to do. It's just my personal opinion. I don't like them for me. All right. Blessed with Pet says, I just don't like changing so many separate food, hay, and water every day, and that's why I'm looking into colony raising. Hey, I understand. Go give it a try, see how it works. Let's see. Beyond the Past says, thanks for the combo as usual, Chris. Next time. Good night. Good night to you, Beyond the Path, and thank you for joining in. You have a good night. Jupiter says, you sound like my husband, LOL. When we turn on the TV, it's automatically on Spectrum News, and he always goes on saying, I don't want to hear that crap. Yeah, I don't blame him. That's good choice. Turn it off. Like I said, the local news isn't that bad, but yeah, any kind of national news is just terrible. Joey says, what do you do if a rabbit grows tired of their pellets? One of my does not seem like it's pellets, which it did like before. It's probably the heat. It's probably heat related. I wouldn't stress about it. I mean, it'll start eating when it's hungry. If you start noticing it like losing lots of weight, you can try giving it some hay. Maybe it'll eat some hay. Make sure it's got access to fresh water all the time. If a rabbit runs out of water, it won't eat. So that would be another thing. Make sure it's got water. But other than that, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Chris Roach says it was 101 here in East Tennessee Mountain Tuesday, and my quail did fine with the heat. They have a tin roof, but I have insulated board under the roof, and they got a heavy-duty tarp to keep them away. Huh? Well, yeah, mine have been doing fine. It's been hotter than that here. So yeah, they've been doing fine. Karen says, how well do you I've lost it. There it is. How well do you outdoor quail cages do against coons? I have a lot of coons already trying to break into my chicken pens. I haven't had any real problems. Oh, you have a tarp to keep them away from the roof. Okay, that makes sense, Chris. I have had raccoons try to get into my hutches and haven't done it, but I don't have a huge problem with raccoons. So, I mean, there's some around, and I know that I've got them on the trail cams. I put a trail cam out there and watched the hutches for a while, and I could get pictures of the raccoons coming up to it, and they'd reach up like, how do I get up there? But they always give up and move on. They haven't been able to get into them yet. Now, that's not to say if you have a bunch of raccoons and a big problem that you might not, I mean, they may be able to get into it. I don't know, but they haven't been able to get into mine yet. So it hadn't been a problem. Wes with Pets says, also, I do feel guilty locking rabbits in small cages, even if they are healthy. So that's another plus. What's your opinion on cage space? Yeah, if you feel guilty about it, I mean, like I said, I'm not telling you not to do a colony. Go ahead and do it if you want to. Personally, my rabbits never look uncomfortable in a cage. But then again, I'm buying rabbits that have been raised for generations in cages. They're well adapted to it. You don't see normally what you look for in an animal, if it's unhappy, they'll be pacing back and forth inside the cage, something like that. That shows that they're unhappy. And my rabbits don't do that. They pretty much just hang out. They eat. You might see them hop around their cage a little bit, but not much. They're not super active. I don't think it's a big issue, but that's different too. Some of your pet rabbits, like the kinds that you're going to be raising, may be a little different. I don't know. Give them a try and see. KA says, we're nearly 2 a.m. here in the UK. Thank you for your help and have a great weekend. Wow. Thanks for staying up late or getting up early, whichever it is, and join us. You have a good weekend too. It's about time to wrap this one up. The comments have really kind of slowed down. We only got about 2-3 minutes, and I started about 2 minutes early anyway. So here, we'll get another comment. We got Rodney asking a question. It says, hey, Chris, I'm asking if you could get me a link on getting your pellet rabbit feeders metal. Tried eBay. Can't get anywhere in Australia. Cheers. Oh, no. Have you tried Amazon? I've tried check Amazon maybe. That's the only place. I think I have them in my Amazon shop, but I don't know how well that would do for you there in Australia. I don't know if that works. So let me check. That Amazon would be the place I would look at. Come on, open up. Let me see. Is it in here? Yep, there it is right there. 1782 for, this is a little giant brand. Let me get a link for you real quick. See if that will work. There's the rabbit feeder. I don't know if it'll let me post the link or not. Do you see the link? Yeah, there it is. That should probably work. I lost track of where I was in here. Anyway, I think I got it all. Gary says, nighty night. Enjoyed tonight from North Carolina, Night Owl. Thanks, Gary. You too. Yeah, I'm going to wrap it up with that right there. We only got about a minute or two left anyway, so time to get going. I hope everybody has a great evening. Thank you guys for joining. As always, I do appreciate it. We'll hopefully see you guys again next Thursday evening. I should be here. Don't see any reason why I shouldn't at this point. Wait, what is next Thursday's date? Let me make sure. Yeah, next Thursday we should be fine. So I guess that's it. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for joining. As always, God bless.